You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to this special op-ed broadcast of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. It is a breaking news report on the urgency of the U.S. presidential election, in which we're seeking to inspire voters of all races, religions, faiths, sexual orientation, economic status, and ages to help get out the vote in support of presidential candidate Kamala Harris. There are only a few months until the 2024 presidential election. Time is short. So does candidate Kamala Harris have the time or even the need to introduce her detailed policy platforms to the voting populace, or must she just give us the cake and tell us the main ingredients that make it taste so good? Or must she give us a time-consuming detailed recipe of exactly how the cake was made? The MAGA Republicans have their 900-page Project 25, which is poised to roll back our progressive civil and human rights victories over the past struggles. We already know those issues and how those battles were won. And in the current excitement about Kamala Harris' campaign for president, we're in the middle of a kind of a backlash. The backlash against George Floyd, the backlash against DEI, the backlash against critical race theory, and the backlash against Barack Obama. Historically, these backlashes last a long time. And if you think about the end of radical Reconstruction, that darkness that doesn't end until Brown versus Board of Education in 1954, then you think about the darkness that happened in the 21st century here. So we're in the middle of a backlash about all of these travesties. And now suddenly the country is facing a choice of going back to the past or plunging ahead into a brighter future. The choice is in front of us right now, and we're in the midst of this current darkness and divisiveness. We got to make a change. This election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is really a momentous election, and the choice is now stark. Are we going back to our dark past or ahead to a brighter future? Kamala Harris can give us the details of her proposed policies, but we already know the level at which the culture wars have been fought and where we were fighting. This is an existential battle. So first give us some cake and then give us some details after we've taken a bite, because we're hungry in America, and we're hungry for some righteousness, and it's time to eat. So while Kamala Mama is in the kitchen preparing our dessert, let's wash our hands and faces, get out the vote, and then break bread together on November 5th, shall we? And I guarantee you the cake is going to be delicious. It's just time to feed the babies first, because there's just enough to go around for everybody. Okay? All right. So stay tuned now and check out this call to action on this edition of Japan Journal. Thank you.
You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN, a division of Totown Communications Company Limited, Japan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special op-ed broadcast of Japan Journal with your host, Mal Adams. As we stand on the brink of the 2024 presidential election, our nation faces a critical moment, a moment that will define the future of our democracy. Tonight, I aim to inspire every American, regardless of race, religion, faith, sexual orientation, economic status, or age, to get out and vote in support of the presumed Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris. Time is short, stakes are high, and every single vote counts. Let's dive into why this election matters so much. There are only a few months until the election, and time is short. The question is, does candidate Kamala Harris have the luxury to introduce detailed policy platforms and reintroduce herself to the nation actually? Or must she give us the highlights, the main ingredients that make up her visions and make it so appealing? The manga Republicans have already prepared a detailed 900-page 2025 project aimed at rolling back our progressive civil and human rights victories. We don't have the time or the luxury of time that we need, so we need to act now. We're in the midst of a significant backlash against George Floyd, against diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, and against critical race theory, and even against the legacy of Barack Obama. Historically, these backlashes can last for decades. Think about the end of radical Reconstruction, a darkness that persisted until the Brown versus Board of Education ruling in 1954. Today, we face a similar choice: retreat to a dark past or leap forward into a brighter future. The stakes have never been higher, y'all, and I know you know this. Culture wars are fierce, and we're fighting on multiple levels, multiple fronts. Kamala Harris can give us the details of her proposed policies, but we already know the battlegrounds of civil rights, human rights, equality, and justice. This election is an existential battle. It's going on right now for the soul of our nation. We need to rally together, get out the vote, and ensure that we do not lose the progress we fought for so hard to achieve. So what should Kamala Harris do? She needs to give us the cake with the flavor of a brighter future and then share the recipe, the details of how we get there. America is hungry for change, and it's time to feed the hunger with hope, progress, and unity. As she prepares this vision, we need to prepare ourselves to support her, to vote, and to be active participants in our own democracy. Let's not forget the lessons from our history, the struggle for civil rights, the fight against oppression, and the ongoing battle for equality. All are chapters in our national story. Kamala Harris represents a continuation of that struggle, a beacon of hope in a time of darkness. By supporting her, we are choosing to move forward, to build on the progress we've made, and to create a better future for generations to come. As Kamala Harris stands in the kitchen preparing our dessert, let's wash our hands and faces, get out the vote, and come together to break bread on November 5th. Shall we? Okay. This is not just about one election. It's about the future of our country. We have the power to shape that future, to ensure that there is enough for everyone for generations to come. So let's make sure that every vote counts, and let's feed the babies first, because there's enough for everyone. In closing, this election is about more than just policy. It's about the direction of our nation, the preservation of our rights, and the hope for a brighter future. Kamala Harris represents that hope, but she cannot do it alone. It's up to each and every one of us to get out and vote, to stand up for what we believe in, and to ensure that our voices are heard. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can build a better future. I thank you for joining me tonight on this special op-ed cybercast of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. Let's make history together, shall we? Okay, thank you.
You're tapped into Japan Journal with Mal Adams, the internet's #1 weekly English language online cybercast from Japan, streaming on GNN,